Yes, okay. And then is Superintendent Blaine on the line as well? Okay, great. Hello, good evening. Superintendent Blaine, this is Mia Gradney with KHOU. Can you hear me okay? Hello there. Good evening. Good to see you and to be with you as well. Thanks for joining us for another special KHOU Back to School live Q&A. You know, the start of school can be stressful, but this year it is certainly compounded by the Delta variant COVID spike. We know students, staff, and parents have their concerns as we embark on another school year, and I get it. I've got a high schooler headed back for another year, so I have a lot of questions just like you do as all our kids head back to campus over the next few weeks. Now, Spring Branch ISD's first day of school for students on campus is August 16th, and we're opening up the floor to Spring Branch parents for you to ask your questions directly. I'll be cycling through them in real time, and here to answer those questions, Spring Branch ISD Superintendent Dr. Jennifer Blaine. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. I know I'm busy getting ready for back to school along with so many other parents. And I know on your side of things, on different campuses all throughout Spring Branch ISD, they are busy as well.
Yes.
So, Dr. Blaine, what COVID safety protocol and the recommendations for students attending Spring Branch ISD campuses this year?
Well, I'll obviously start with the first thing, which is masks. And I know everyone has lots of questions around masks. As you know, we're under an executive order by our governor and by the Texas Education Agency that we cannot mandate masks in school. We, of course, strongly encourage that any family who feels compelled to, feels safer to wear a mask, that they should feel free to do that. We are going to have case review, which is another way to say contact tracing. So we will be doing case review in our schools. We will be contacting any parent where they've had a what's considered a close contact in the classroom or in the school setting or on the athletic field or wherever the student may be. We're continuing protocols around hand sanitizing, hand washing. We obviously will social distance where we can. We will continue our cleaning protocols, use of hospital grade sanitizing products and cleaning all flat surfaces and high touch areas. And we will continue with confirmed positive COVID cases that those folks will need to isolate at home for 10 days. So a lot of our protocols that we used last year are actually still in place. There are a few, obviously, like the masks, that are optional this school year.
We understand the directive from the state as deemed by the governor of Texas, but just to ask you again, because it is the number that we get, will be required for students in Spring Branch ISD?
Because we're under the governor's executive order and guidance from TEA, masks will be optional. But again, I want to reiterate that we highly encourage any parent, family, student that wants to wear a mask, feels safer to wear a mask. We want people to feel safe to do so.
Several other school districts are now electing to put a mask mandate in place. Will Spring Branch ISD follow suit perhaps at a later time?
Well, we're going to continue to follow the governor's executive order and the guidance and the order from the Texas Education Agency. And again, we will strongly recommend that anybody who feels compelled to and feels safer to wear a mask to do so.
And if students want to wear a mask but show up at school without one, will mask be made available to them?
Yes, they will. Yes.
Now let's get to another topic and a question that comes up a lot. It's about virtual learning. Will there be virtual learning provided at all?
So like a lot of my colleagues in surrounding school districts, we were actually prepared to offer virtual learning, and we were told early on and throughout the legislative session that that was going to very possibly be an opportunity that school districts could offer. So we were prepared to do so. But as you likely know from talking with other superintendents, the legislature then decided not to fund virtual learning. So, but you are seeing some school districts that are offering virtual learning around the Region 4 area are opting to do that, the funding that goes along with it. In Spring Branch, we have a little bit different situation, and I don't want to get off on a tangent with funding, but I think it's important for viewers to know that the Spring Branch Independent School District doesn't just take a hit on the average daily attendance funding, which is what you're seeing a lot of the school districts do. We actually have another piece where we receive a double hit to our funding. So for example, we looked at what it would cost and what it would take if we were to offer virtual learning for 9 weeks, the first 9 weeks of the school year, and take a hit on the ADA. We also take a hit on the recapture side, which is a function of being a Chapter 49 school district, which means that we also give money back to the state. So for the Spring Branch Independent School District to offer virtual learning for 9 weeks is an approximate cost to the system of $9 million or $1 million a week. And that would be if approximately 30% of our elementary students or students in the school district took advantage of that opportunity. So obviously it is something that we could do. We could choose not to receive that funding, but that's a lot of money and we just have to strongly consider that. I do understand that right now there is talk in the legislative session of perhaps revitalizing that virtual opportunity for school districts. So I would encourage any parent that's interested in that opportunity to contact their legislator and students to have that opportunity.
We have a question from Jennifer Montgomery Gore. She asked if parents are not comfortable sending their under 12 kids on Monday, given surging Delta numbers and SBISD mask optional policy, what do you suggest that they do?
I would really recommend that any parent with a question about COVID safety protocols or concerned about what might be going on in their campus really needs to contact their campus principal and talk through that with the leader of the campus.
Dr. Blaine, with students returning, how will classrooms be situated? Will there be social distancing?
Well, so there will be social distancing where we can, and obviously in the classroom, there's not going to be a lot of social distancing. That was actually true last year as well. But we will social distance where we can throughout the campus. Students will obviously wear masks if they choose to do so, and we also have plexiglass shields that we have available to parents or students that would feel safer with a plexiglass shield around or dividing their desk between other students. So we have those things available. Obviously, we will continue to encourage hand sanitizing and all of the other safety protocols that we have in place in Spring Branch.
The plexiglass option is interesting. Do you have enough for students if every student would want one?
Mm-hmm. We do actually. That's a good question. So we utilized plexiglass last year throughout all of our campuses pre-K through 12. And so we've kept that plexiglass. That's the best. And if a bus for their students' desk, we will absolutely be more than happy to offer that for them.
And how will things work in the lunchroom, right? Because we'll have unmasked students there.
Yes, we will. So then the lunchroom, again, we'll continue to spread out where we can. We're really fortunate in Spring Branch that we have a lot of outdoor, many of our campuses have outdoor seating areas, and we're encouraging our principals to actually use those areas if that's an opportunity that they have available to them. We will social distance where we can. We have encouraged principals to look at staggering their lunch times. So whereas you might have, for example, a grade level of first graders in the cafeteria at one time, that might be the normal protocol. A principal might decide to stagger those first grade classes so that we don't have as many kids in the cafeteria. There are actually a number of ways to operate the lunchroom in a safe manner. And of course, we will continue to clean and sanitize and do all the things that we know are healthy safety protocols to make sure our students and staff stay safe.
With outbreaks?
That's a great question. So, we had to plan for that last year, and so we're planful for that this year. We're fortunate in Spring Branch, and most school districts likely have the same opportunity. We have our learning management system where all of our teachers have loaded digital content, and students are able to access that content digitally. So if we have to pivot because we have a closure, then that's what we'll do. We were very successful at that last year. Our students engaged and they were very successful. So we'll just continue that practice again.
Yeah, you've done it before. Hopefully you do not have to do it again, but it sounds like you have a plan in case you do have to pivot. Another question, this one comes from Malia Ree. She asked, will you require teachers to wear masks?
So under the governor's executive order, we cannot require anyone to wear masks. So that actually stands for students and employees. And so again, what we've told our employees, including our teachers, is that we encourage anybody to wear a mask that would feel safer doing so. And our teachers are well aware of that. And we do have staff. We have staff on campus right now in professional development. And when you walk our 46 campus sites, some people are wearing masks and others are not. And that we support that. We want to support what people are comfortable doing and what the choice that they're making for themselves.
Janie De Hoyos asked, are the schools going to be disinfected every day, especially the classroom, restroom?
Absolutely. We disinfect every day as it is. We have increased our cleaning protocols and will continue to do so. Again, we use hospital grade disinfectant. We have regular maintenance, changing of the filters, and we're very comfortable with the cleanliness of our buildings, and we will continue to clean not only every night and in the morning, but also throughout the day, high touch areas, surfaces, those kinds of things.
I want to circle back around to something that you mentioned earlier and dive a little bit deeper into it, Dr. Blaine. You know, we talked about tracking COVID cases, notifying parents, students, staff. What's the district's plan going into this school year as far as COVID cases and notification?
So we're actually going to continue with our dashboard, and so we do not have to case review, but we refer to contact for our Spring Branch students and families and teachers and staff. That's the right thing to do. So we'll continue that process as we did last year. We were very successful at it. We will absolutely notify anybody that has become in close contact with somebody who has tested positive. We will be our Spring Branch website. The dashboard is updated daily, and it just reflects the number of cases that are on campus. We want to be transparent with our community, make sure at each of our campuses. So we'll continue with the dashboard.
And that dashboard, as you said, will be easily accessible on the district website.
Yes, yes.
So a COVID tracking it.
So when we have a COVID positive case, what we'll do is obviously once we identify that we'll need to quarantine for 10 days, which is the same process that we've had. And then anybody who was in close contact and to stay home and quarantine for 3 to 5 days and bring back a positive or a negative test result. Now, caveat to that is that we could require that actually can't rules that we cannot require somebody to stay at home if they don't have a positive test and they're not sick. But we are going to highly encourage that will still be anybody that's been exposed, positive or not, to stay home for 3 to 5 days and bring us a negative test.
And once again, to clarify, you can't require it or demand it because they allow it. That is not their.
That is correct. Yes. So you cannot. Yes, you can't require it. We were able to do that last year. I believe that most of our, everybody wants to save our families. We were successful last year, and we're going to be successful again this year. And I believe our families are going to do the right thing.
Okay, Donna Mai asked, I've heard that vaccinated teachers, should they contract COVID? Is this true?
If a teacher is vaccinated but they test positive, we would follow the same process that we would follow for any. So they would stay home for the 10 days. They would need to bring us a negative test. So the process wouldn't be any different.
Okay. Ellen asked, what about quarantine for close? Polly says on to school instead of quarantining?
Yes, a little different than what we were Texas. Somebody to stay home, quarantine only require it if they have a positive. That said, individual contact with someone that has tested, but they
Another viewer, will visibly sick children be redirected?
Oh, our protocol around sick children change, only for COVID. We're talking about flu, six other things that go wild. They would go first, would contact the parent.
The thing is always been have a fever. What can really not come back to school? That fever.
No, not at all. Not the same.
Will health screening? Will the district require? Is there anything that they have to fill out online or required to do before hitting the ground on that campus?
No, we're not requiring a health screener. Not doing, but safety protocols will have all of those in place.
Did the district do it last? Did you find that it didn't work?
Screener place, and is mind them to about the health screener. People were most of the time. We decided that side implement these other safety protocols. So we're not going to do the health screener.
I want to let up to this evening. I'm joined by the doctor. She taking your question, ranch parent, now to get answers. We're COVID school is like for campuses up through around all campuses. Dr. Blaine. We've watched this surge, the COVID case, the young right now, children, but also we just want to know, do you have quarantine?
Last we'll have to watch very closely for staff last year. Sometimes we have to get creative about how that happens, but we were able to see any reason why we were able to cover classes.
Members are vaccinated.
You know, I justly we can ask reasons, but I will say spring when vaccine staff that we would so and we did a to get vaccinated. Don't worry about it. You're assigned to do. Had a note to offer vaccines. We've had a number of well, and the other means that through we believe it's a good staff that had back.
The COVID positive did you last school year?
I have the number. We have 2,000. Remember about $1,800, about 2,200 cases.
And
it is less than.
To give us better, how many students in the district?
$2,200, approximately 4,800 staff.
How could those numbers? Those are relatively low numbers when you look at you have.
You know, I our staff, they were we work closely with a medical committee to ensure that we have. I know that is a mask right now, and just we highly encourage that anybody that feels more comfortable in a mask that they would wear one. And so I'm confident that we're going to get kids back in school and we're going to get them back in successfully.
Vaccines are available for children 12 and up, adults as well. Will the school district host any vaccination clinics?
Yes, actually we hosted them in the spring, and we had a large number of our students. I believe we vaccinated 1,000 students in a very short period of time when we offered them in the spring. But we are actually going to participate with the county to offer vaccine sites. On August 14th, we have 4 of our elementary school sites that are going to be used for vaccines. And then the following weekend, on August 21st, we are going to be using one of our middle schools, Northbrook Middle School specifically, to offer vaccines to our students.
The district doing its part. How can people take part or find out more information, Dr. Blaine, about those vaccination clinics?
The best place to get information on any of our COVID protocols or any of the vaccine sites is really to visit our website at www.springbrancisd.com. If you're not comfortable doing that, I would encourage you to please call the district office or call your campus principal. They are a great source of information. They have all of this information, and they can walk a parent through what they need to do to access one of those sites.
Okay, back to day-to-day activities. School bus protocol. Will there be social distancing on buses? Can you do it since you're welcoming all students back to campus?
So we had 81 last year, so we had a large number of our students back last year, but social distancing on the school bus is really difficult because we have a lot of students that ride the bus, and we only have so many buses to go around, and kids have to get to school. What we will do is we will have masks available for students who wish to wear a mask and don't have a mask. We will offer them a mask. We will have hand sanitizer just like we did last year, and we will continue with our cleaning protocols on our buses and making sure that the buses are cleaned before runs and after the bus runs. And so we'll continue with that.
We know just as soon as school starts, Dr. Blaine, so do sports and extracurricular activities, and our kids are excited to return to those. Want to know, will things look differently with our sports and extracurricular activities as well? Will there be limited guests at games?
So what our kids participated last year. So we felt really strongly there's a social and emotional component, obviously a huge social emotional component to a student's learning and to their academic experience in school. We feel strongly that sports and extracurricular activities are a huge part of that. So we never stopped offering those last year. So we're going to just follow suit with what we did last year. Kids are going to play sports. They're going to participate in the fine arts and every other activity that we offer. And we are not planning to limit participation. We want our parents to come to the games, and we want our community to enjoy the games. And so we're going to continue with that protocol.
Yeah, you know, those activities are often a family affair, right? Because it's family there in the stands, and it makes everyone feel good during these really challenging times when we can do so and participate. anxiety once on campus, if they have any, especially for those children who can't be vaccinated? What type of emotional and mental well-being supports will be provided?
I think that is a great question. So social and emotional supports for here in first week in September. Our kids have been out of school for 7 months, and that had all kinds of consequences and implications for kids, socially, emotionally, academically, health-wise, and so we work on every single mental health supports and how to offer supports not only to the students but to the families, because sometimes it's the student experiencing anxiety. A lot of times it's the whole family experiencing anxiety, and we know we have to support the home as well. We also are fortunate in our district IS workers, and they're wonderful at bringing in resources that we may or may not have here in the system. We also have a team at the central office to kids on campuses who are having high levels of anxiety. And I'm actually really proud to say our police department has also invested in mental health, and our chief of police, Chief Daring, has invested in training his officers, several of his officers, in mental health support. And so we want our students to feel loved and welcomed and supported by all aspects of the Spring Branch community, including our police. And so we have all of those things in place to support our students, and we think that's extremely, extremely important.
Yes, school provides so much more than just an education. Just times is. I have another question for you, Dr. Blaine, this time from V. Thorne. V asks, can children who are masking be assigned to classes separate from the unmasked ones?
I appreciate it. It would be impossible to staff in that manner, and I'll try to explain this as simply as I can. But for 6th, 1st grade, you know, half the grade level or a quarter of the grade level that decides to wear a mask and the other half doesn't, that's 4 for want to wear a mask. So there's no way to what you would end up with is if you would end up with some classrooms with an overload of kids. You would end up with other classrooms. Depending on the situation, we're going to have campuses where most of our students and staff decide to wear a mask, and that's okay. We support that. And we're going to have campuses where that's not the case. And so to be able to staff that, there could be instances where I have to put 5 kids with 40 kids. And so staffing in that manner would be impossible. In terms of, could I add staff? Could I hire teachers and add staff? Time in the year, standard, quite frankly, is going to be very, very difficult. And so we want every student with a quality teacher. We have great teachers, and so segregate kids based not logistically possible. I might also worry a little bit about the emotional safety and well to segregate kids.
Alarming, right, for children with mask or without mask, and that separation with friends that they would know. Questions for you. What is your message to parents ahead of the school year? And finally, your message to students ahead of the school year.
So what I would say to our parents is that I know this is a time of uncertainties. I promise you, we have your students' best interests at heart. We did this successfully last year. Key that kids are in. One of the things we learned a lot from last year, I'll tell you that, but one of the things that we know in school is the best thing for them. It's the best thing for them academically. It's the best thing for them socially and emotionally. And we believe students need to be in. Let's say to parents, we feel confident about our plans. We know we can do this successfully. If you are nervous or have questions, I would ask you to please contact you and talk to individual, and they will sit down with you and walk you through all of the plans and any other questions that you might have. What I would say to our kids is that we are super excited to see you on Monday. We love the beginning of the school year. School year, we're going to focus on academics. We're going to focus on social emotional health and well-being, and we really want to make sure school year all around is get a good night's sleep Sunday night, and we'll see you on Monday morning. We're really, really excited to start this school year.
We appreciate you answering questions that parents may have. We're so thankful for you taking the time. Folks, if you still have questions, be sure to watch later tonight at TAP, and then you can follow H-Town Rush as well. But in the meantime, we want to wish all of our students, teachers, and staff with Spring Branch ISD a fantastic school year again.
Have a great evening.
Will do. We'll see you all tonight at 10.